Now boarding all passengers to the basis.net.
Hey, welcome everyone. I think we're live. Yes, we are. And it already says there, hey, say hello and tell me where you're from. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. I still need to tune up here. This is a different time for me. I normally don't live stream. Number one, this late in the day. Number two, on a Sunday. I don't know what time zone you're joining me right now, but it is still Sunday afternoon here in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. But hey, seriously, thank you guys so much for joining. As you're coming in, do me a favor, just let me know where you are at, where you're coming from. And actually, hold on 1 second. I'm going to, am I? Yes, I am. Hold on. Give me 1 second. It's going to be a little clunky today. You know what the live streams always are. First of all, can you guys hear my voice okay? Can you hear the bass okay? Sounds like it got quieter for me. The bassist theme song rivals Seinfeld. Maybe, maybe not. All right, let's see what we got here. We got Russell coming in. Sweet high-tech effects. Thanks, Russell. I appreciate that. If you're talking about like all the graphics and all that stuff, cool. If you're talking about the bass, it's just dry. No effects there. Mark, welcome. Bob Pace, welcome. Glad to have you here. Russell says it's 11 p.m. You should be going to bed soon. Actually, no, you're a musician. You stay up late. It's okay. Mark B says, is this a new bass? Actually, no. I'll talk about this in just a second. The bassist theme song rivals the Seinfeld. Probably not true, but I do know that the Seinfeld tune is not a bass. It's actually something else. Cullen is texting me, let me know, hey, your vocal mic has been slightly muffled the last couple of live streams. Lots of bass in the voice and missing a little clarity. Okay, thank you, Cullen. I guess my question to you guys, is that correct? Because I actually did bring up some of the top end on my mic. But let me know, please, if it's not sounding okay, or if there's anything I need to do to my microphone down here or to the bass itself, please let me know. Midnight in Italy. Bob, good to have you. Andy from France, welcome. See, this is cool. Normally I do my live streams at a time where I don't get to interact with a lot of you guys because you're in a different time zone. Tom from Manchester, welcome. Good to have you. Michael from Virginia Beach. Sarah says hello. Fernando from Tucson, Arizona. Good to have you. You're not too far from me. P.F. Hirschko from Berlin, Germany. Good to have you. Who else we got here? Vinicus. That's a really awesome name. I said that wrong. Vinicius Santana from Brazil. Good to have you. Sorry, my Portuguese is terrible. John from Vancouver. Henrik, good to have you. King Piccolo 82 says he needs some bass face. You're going to be getting a lot of that today, I promise you. We got Des Moines in the house, Kansas City, Missouri, and Russia. Cool. I don't have too many fans in Russia, or at least not here on the live stream before. So thanks for tuning in. I'm glad to have you guys. So here's what we're going to be doing today. John from Parkland, Florida. Good to have you too. Today, I've got something kind of cool planned. Give me 1 second to flip this around. Sorry, I know. It's a little bit clunky. I just got to put the chat back to where it was. Hold on. Bear with me. Technical difficulties. Actually, not difficulties. It's actually pretty fun. So here's what I'm going to do today. I've got a, is this going to work? Yes, it is. So actually, hold on. Let me put the bass down for a second. Let's chit chat really quick. I promise this is going to be fast. I know a lot of people are kind of scared right now. There's a lot of stay home, don't travel. If you follow any musicians on Instagram, or if you're a touring cat yourself, all the tours are canceled. All the shows are kind of not going anywhere for a while. And so I figured, you know what? This would be a cool time to just do more live streaming, release more videos, because I know a lot of us are at home with not a lot to do right now. So this is a great time to practice, not just to sit in front of Netflix and kill 10 hours a day or whatever, but let's learn some new things together. Let's interact, let's have fun, and get somewhere in our bass playing. So one thing I've been doing is recording a lot of lessons on funk music and slap and whatnot. So that's actually what I'm going to do today. This is kind of my process. Sorry, let me come over here and show you what's going on. So I've got maybe 4 or 5 different backing tracks that I'm going to use to create future lessons here at thebassist.net and for the YouTube channel. And what I usually do is I just kind of throw them on, I jam to it, and just see like what's coming naturally to me. I'm going to record that, and then later on I'm going to transcribe it and morph it into a lesson. So today is not really a recording session in the sense that this is for a client. I'm the client in this case. I need to record some ideas, then I can kind of go back on a later time and with the pencil and paper, transcribe it out and figure out what it is that I'm going to try to do with my lessons here. Hold on, let me make sure. Yes, we're good. All right, cool. So let me just first of all say, if you guys have any questions at all, stop me at any point in time. I'm going to look over here and check out the chat stream. If it's a performance thing, if it's a EQ thing, or I don't know, anything at all. If you want to know what I'm doing or why I'm doing it, tone stuff, gear stuff, music theory stuff, any of that, I'm here to help, I promise. I'm going to bring this back over to the other side. Sorry, I've got like 2 different computer screens in here. Where's my mouse right now? Oh. And I can't see the chat stream too good. So hold on, let me check this out really quick. We got Arizona. I saw that already. Yeah, okay. We got prayers to all affected by COVID-19. This will pass. Yes, stay safe and keep playing bass. My thoughts exactly. You know what? Just to kind of touch on that again, just be smart. Don't be scared. Don't get hysterical, because we're just doing the smart thing by kind of holding down the fort for the time being, I guess. So be smart, but also be safe. Russell says, I have 2 autoimmune conditions. I'm staying indoors until 2021. Yeah, my wife had cancer 5 years ago. Same. I left the house, actually. This is like quite natural for me. Yesterday was the first time I left my house in about 9 days. And I mean, I go outside, I run 5 miles a day with the dog. I'm in the neighborhood, but I don't leave the house to go to the store or whatever with Amazon. Most things come to us. So yeah, I'm already a super introvert. This isn't that different for me, but yeah, I'm right there with you, Russell. This is not a time to take chances, especially for those who are immunodeficient, like my wife, like yourself, and anyone else who might be listening. Yeah, always best to play it safe. That's a good idea. Here's actually a great question. Russell says, what sort of dB, decibels, that's like volume, headroom do you allow for both active and passive basses when recording? Very simple. I'll show you over here. Is that right? Yes, it is. Okay, so first of all, I'm doing quite a bit of makeup gain with plugins right now to make it louder so that we can actually hear it. So check this out. I've got some processing on the bass right now. Not much. That's what the bass sounds like with my processing. Here's where it starts. So you can see the volume is quite a bit substantially lower. And here's the reason why. If you're looking over here, ignore this one, that's my microphone. But this channel, yeah, you guys can see that. This is the bass guitar right now. So I'm just gonna play anything. And if you're looking at these meters right here, you can see the peaks are never getting above kind of -12. And the RMS, that's kind of the average. The peaks are coming up when I snap the note, but for the most part, it kind of lives in this area, kind of around -18 is what you're shooting for. So it's okay if you snap a note and it goes up above -18, but like -12, -10, that's where you want to be with your peaks. And the RMS, the average, you want to be around here, -18. And here's the reason why. When you're tracking, okay, hold on, let me, let's talk about it like this. So when you're recording audio, you have to get a gain level on your bass. If you go too hard, you're going to clip. And if you play too soft, it's just going to be too quiet. And so most people think the best thing to do is to get your bass as loud as you can without clipping. So in other words, you play, you get it into the red, and then you just back it off a little bit, and you go, cool, that's a good signal. That is not a good signal. That is too hot. Here's what you, and the reason why is because I'm going into some plugins here, right? Take a look at this one right here. This is emulating a Neve 1073, my favorite preamp and an EQ for a bass guitar, and it's emulating an 1176, the Teletronics Universal Audio 1176. These are the gold mines of compressors and EQ and preamp for bass guitar especially. And these are calibrated for a -18 signal. So these plugins are emulating the analog sound, and the analog sound is calibrated to -18. So if you feed it something more, you're going to be clipping digitally, even though it's all zeros and ones. You can just back the gain off. So you don't need to record that hot, and actually your plugins that you're going to be processing with, they want a softer signal as well, because otherwise, like I said, you're just going to be clipping on the plugin side of things. So now if I bring the bass back in, sorry, I'll bypass it so you can see. Bring the plugins in. Just brought the volume up a little bit, and I'm doing some EQing and some compressing. And again, the reason why, especially when I'm recording, I like to do this with plugins is because I have the ability to change it later if I decide that's not the sound that I wanted. Let's see if we have any other questions pertaining to this. Headroom, we just covered. And Russell, by the way, I'm sorry that took so long to explain, but that's the reason why. -18 is what you want to shoot for. RMS. Peaks as much as -12 or -10, somewhere over there. I have a question. How to play tight in grid? I'm assuming you mean how to play like really, really tight pocket. Sense a Dauntless, or whatever, I can't read that name. If you could do me a favor, just clarify a little bit. I'll come back to that question. But are you talking about how do you play really good time as if it sounds like you were quantized to the grid? I think that's what you're saying. Henrik says, how can we make arpeggios? I don't know why I'm picking up this bass, because apparently I don't even need it. Hold on. I'm going to send you a link right now. Oh, wait, wrong site. Hold on. Hudson, actually. Yeah, here we go. Might as well show you this. This is the bassist.net. If you go to the homepage, here we are. Go over to videos, and then the bassist curriculum, and right here we have essential arpeggios. This is an entire series covering what arpeggios are, and then going through, basically all these different lessons, specifically targeting arpeggios, what they are, how to use them, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to, copy and paste this into the chat stream. And if you're interested, you can go check that out. And there's tons more lessons that use arpeggios at thebassist.net, but that's enough to get you started. Hey, actually, let's do this real quick. Before we get started, I want to say, number one, a new video went live on the YouTube channel here. Some of you might have seen it already, but it went up on Friday, and it's a new series I've started called The Money Notes. In the very first episode, targeted the song Spiderwebs by No Doubt, which is one of my favorite bass lines. Check out this clip real quick. Hi, I'm Jamie Lewis, and welcome back to thebassist.net for the very first episode of the Money Notes.
I'm rich, bitch!
This is going to be an ongoing series highlighting some of my favorite bass lines of all time. And I'm not just going to show you how to play them. We're also going to dissect these grooves together and really try to figure out what it is that makes them so awesome to begin with.
I'm rich, bitch!
So like I said, that's a new video that just went live. If you haven't seen it, there's a link in the description. Watch it after this live stream. But yeah, so that's a new series that I've gotten some pretty good response on. So do this. Number one, if there's a song that you want me to cover, because here's what I do. I don't just teach the bass line. We break it down, kind of look under the hood and see why it's so awesome. And then I apply that to a song that's not even remotely close to the one we started with, to see how we can basically create our own bass lines without getting technical and being like, oh, just do a root, third, fifth, whatever, you know. So anyways, if there's anything you want to see, let me know. Drop it in the comments below. And also, new episodes of the Bassist podcast are going live up until I run out. So, by the way, I was supposed to go to Nashville next week. That trip has been canceled. Traveling's not a good idea right now. So I've got enough podcasts to keep coming out the next few weeks, but at some point, I'm going to have to go and go back into the public and meet some people. But just on your smartphone, type in The Bassist Podcast. We've had Yannick Westala on the show, Steve Bailey, Robert Bubby Lewis. This coming episode tomorrow is going to be Steve Araujo from G&L Guitars and a whole bunch of other things. But yeah, that's a super awesome thing. Content's going to still be coming out. And again, if you're looking for entertainment, there are 80 something. There's a lot of episodes. So go check that out if you're interested. Also, if you haven't noticed, there's a new t-shirt available at the Bassist shop. My wife and I just started watching The Office together. I've seen it a million times, but she hasn't before. And I'm falling in love with the show all over again. So if you like this shirt, right now we're accepting pre-orders. Same thing, there's a link in the description, and you can go check all that out. All right, let's just answer a couple more questions, and then I'll do some recording with you guys. So we're talking about playing tight as if it was quantized. Well, I mean, you should always, in my opinion, play that way anyways. I mean, whether or not you're playing recording and you want to be tight on the grid, or you know, you're playing with a band, live, whatever it is. But yeah, playing really, really tight is really important. So let me see. Hold on. Let's do this. Hold on. Let me get rid of this page. So, all right, we'll bring you back over to this screen right here. All right. I'm just going to put on the first thing that I can play to. And let's see what happens. I've not played this before. I exported this track, and I know it's just an F minor chord pretty much the whole time. Can you guys hear the backing track okay? I see it on the meter, so I think we're good. All right. All right, and so all I wanted to point home or drive home right there is this idea right here. When you're trying to play in the pocket, in time, as if you were quantized or snapped on the grid, the first thing that will help out tremendously is this. I don't know if you can see, my leg was moving, my head, I was making weird faces. It sounds ridiculous, but if you don't move with the music, you're not gonna have good timing. It's impossible. And in fact, watch. I mean, this is to my own demise here. Let's do that again, but this time I'm gonna stay stone cold. And just trust me, I'm not trying to make myself sound worse to prove a point. I'm just gonna really not move with the music at all, and tell me which one you like more. I'll try to play the same thing. Ah. You get the idea. I look like a robot and I sound like one. Whoops, I'm getting caught up here. It's just not good. Timing, notes, ideas, all of it. I just feel, yeah, and I sound that way too. So if you want to work on the tightness of your playing, I don't think you need to try any harder than just this. If you start right here, my knees are going. I kind of go back and forth depending on which leg gets tired, but oh, you can't see them anyways. But I'm going like this. I'm running in place, bouncing my knee, moving my head, making the stink face. Like, you got to get into it. And I guess it's the same thing as like if you are an actor, okay? I'm at Johnny Depp or Samuel Jackson or one of the Avengers, who cares, right? If you're just reading the copy, oh no, look out, they're going to get you. Like, that's not acting, that's just reading the line, you know? So you gotta get into character, you gotta get into space, you gotta feel the scenery, or I don't know, I'm not an actor, but whatever the thing is, in order for it to kind of come off as appealing or believable. And musically, it's no different. So that just starts with feeling the groove before you play a note. And you know what, if hold on, I'm gonna send you another link, hold on. Same thing, here at thebassist.net, I've got this whole intro series called The Basics. This one's totally free, you don't need a login, and we cover this topic in great detail. So if that's something you need help with, just click on one of those links down there. Let's keep going down here. Hold on. Tightly quantized. All right, that's where we left off. Okay, this one's from Alan. Says, did you ever have to deal with tracking anxiety? Of course. Every time I'm about to play. Every time I'm about to go live. This is, there's hundreds, potentially thousands of people watching this in the future. There's only about 30-something of you right now. But, I mean, yeah, this is a pretty scary thing. Everything I say is going to tape right now. I can't go back and fix it. So, yeah, every single time I get anxiety. Here's the way to deal with that, in my opinion, is to remember that this is what you like to do. All right? When I had students who would get stage fright or recording anxiety or whatever the thing is, just remember, oh yeah, this is what I enjoy. This is part of the fun. Like, if you don't like to go perform, I don't think you should be a musician. It's probably not for you. You know what I mean? You like to play music. It's just kind of scary at first, but once you get into it, you realize like, oh yeah, this is so much fun. So I would kind of put it to you that way. If you can mentally, you know, just skip that thought and be like, yeah, this is anxious or scary or whatever it is, but this is the reason why we're here. This is part of the fun. And if you don't enjoy it, that's okay. Don't do it. Because you're not helping anybody. But if I could just remind myself like, oh, this is this exciting feeling of like being on a roller coaster and, oh, we're going up, we're going down. It's all part of the ride. So I don't know if that helps, but that's what I do. Dr. Chud says, Footloose. Footloose, like the Kenny Loggins song? Sorry, that wasn't me showing off. That was me just trying to remember what song it was, and then I went on a roll. Yeah, I'll do that with Footloose, absolutely. Okay, sorry, Bob has a question. When you track a bass part for a client, when you know that what you record is when do you know when what you record is good? I always think, oh, I can add this or do that, but how do you know if what you did is good enough? Especially when you track at home and you have too much time to think. Good question. Excellent. And here's the way that I deal with that. I'm just looking, I don't have a graphic. Sorry, I was noticing something off screen. Okay, so I think what you're trying to say is, how do I know if it's what the client wants? All right, because if your question is, how do I know if it's good? I think you have bigger problems than you might realize. When I play something, I know instantly whether it's good or not. You know, I mean, it should sound pleasing to my ears, and it should be what I intended, and hopefully I'm creating good ideas. So I don't think what you mean is, how do I know if it sounds good? You know if it sounds good. What you're really asking is, how do I know if the client's gonna like it? So if they're not in the room with you, there's a couple of easy ways to interact with them online. Skype. You can, with Skype, you can output the volume from your DAW to the input of Skype's microphone. So I've done that before, remote sessions where I'm playing and they can hear, just the way you guys can hear me right now. Or, I mean, you could do this, you could live stream and just send them a private URL, send them a private link to click on, and then it's just the two of you, you know? And so that can definitely help out. But I would say also remember that they asked you to play, which means they like the way you play. So don't worry about, oh, would they like this? Would they like that? Yes, because they asked you. And if they don't know you, then you got to prove yourself, I guess. And just do that by doing 2 or 3 or 4 different passes. Make sure they're all good passes, but make them a little bit different. Don't do the same line each and every time. Do one that's a little safe, do one that's a little out there, do one that takes some liberties with certain chord inversions or certain parts of the song, and then do one that just goes to town. You know, I don't know, that would be my advice. Hope that helps. Ann Arbor, Michigan, glad to have you. Compressor settings and 5 strings. Okay, let's do this one first. I'm going to answer these 2 questions, and then I'm going to record some music because I got to get some work done too. So John says, what's your typical compressor settings for slap, fingerstyle, or any brand preference? Yeah, when it comes to slap, hold on. This is the wrong bass to do it, but I'll show you over here. Basically, this is the 1176. This is one of the best compressors for a bass player to use because it's also simple. It only has 4 okay, there's 5 on this one, but really there's just 4 controls. Input, output, attack, and release. The release, you set all the way to the right or you make it go as fast as you can. The attack, you kind of put it somewhere in the middle. And then the input is just how much compression do you want to do? And the output is how loud do you want it to be? Very basic controls. So if you were slapping, what you're looking for is you want the transient to come through. I'm going to bypass the compressor really quick. These are flat wound strings, so you're probably not getting the smack that you would want to hear. But either way, you want the compressor to kick on after your attack. In other words, if the attack is really fast like this, oh, sorry, it's off right now. Let's bring it back on. See how the notes go and it's sucking in the sound right away? The volumes go. You don't want that. Well, you do, but you want it after the attack. So you just go like this. We put the attack so that what's going to hit first is the smack, and then we'll get that sound on the tail, and that's what creates that. It gives more sustain to that short note. You want that sound after the snap. And that's pretty much it. Then you just kind of dial in the input gain to the amount of decibels that you want to be doing with gain reduction. So right now, you can see the needle's just dancing over here between 3 and 5 dB of gain reduction. That's what I always shoot for. And this is the reason why I don't like compressor pedals. You've heard me say this a million times. I want to see 3 to 5 dB. I just want to see the needle going like this. Boop. That's all I want. I don't want to see huge pumping. I mean, you do that other times. But for slap, I just want that needle to dance. I'll get the mouse out of the way, sorry. You don't want to go whoom, whoom. And you'll see if I do this. Watch, if I adjust the release and the attack, watch the needle now. It sounds like trash, and it looks like trash. The needle's just going like this and working its way back. So that is not what you're interested in. And you asked if I have a particular brand, that I prefer. The reason why I like the 1176 is the fastest compressor on the planet. Maybe not, I don't know, I'm not a doctor. But it was one of the first really quick compressors. It's okay, happens all the time. Actually, let's talk about this bass. Somebody asked me if this was a new bass or not. This is actually given to me by my wife's uncle. So I actually call this my wife's bass. And yeah, it totally just fell over. That's fine, it's just wood. But my wife's uncle gave this to me. He's a guitar player. He bought a bass some years ago and never used it. In fact, he put these flat wound strings on it probably 10 years ago, and I've not changed them, so I have no idea what they are. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's, I think, or something a couple years ago, and basically he was getting to the point where he couldn't play anymore. So we went and visited them a couple years ago, and he was like, "Hey, want to take this bass home and play it?" I said, "Yes, of course I do." When someone offers you a bass, you just say yes, but you take better care of it than I just did, because you should care if your bass falls over. Let's see how out of tune it got. Not bad, actually. Yeah, I don't know anything about this instrument. It's a stock Fender. It's the one that's got the S1 switch. You know, you can push in the button. I don't know. It's okay. It's a decent instrument. Yeah, it's made in America. Yeah, made in the US. My only gripe with these instruments is they have too much smack. I don't know, I'm not a big fan of that sound. I like a more mellower jazz tone. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to record some of this stuff. Because, again, what we're doing here, or what I'm doing here today, is I'm just kind of going through some of these funk tracks that I've downloaded from Big Fish Audio, and I'm creating lessons. And I just need to know what I'm going to transcribe and what I'm going to try to create with that lesson. So the first thing that I want to do is I want something that's like a, oh, whoops, I'm hitting the wrong button. No, wait, hold on. Oh, there we go. I want something that is kind of an advanced finger funk, maybe Rocco Prestia, Tower of Power kind of thing, similar to the lesson that went live a couple of weeks ago, which if you haven't seen it, it's one of the last videos that went live here at the YouTube channel. So you can check that out if you like. But yeah, so I just kind of want a, you know, just a really cool Tower of Power sound and bass line. So the track, you can see I'm already getting into character. Okay, so this is the first time, okay, this is like the second or third time I've played this, but this is, at this live streaming, it's the first time I'm listening to this. It's a 1-chord jam in F minor, and I really like what I just did. I like that, sliding from the 3rd up an octave, and then moving up to the 4th or the 11, A flat to B flat. I think that's a pretty cool sound, so. Let's see what that sounds like. And so right there, I just recorded that idea. Let's have a listen back at it. Okay, my timing's all over the place. That is terrible. And if this were a recording session, I would do that again. But to be honest, I'm happy because all I need right now is just ideas, right? I'm gonna rework this a little bit and do something else later. But right now, I just wanna kind of just remind myself what that idea is. I'll spend some time practicing it and pulling it apart, adding in some cool licks, but that's kind of how my gut is reacting to this groove. So that's the lesson I'm gonna teach. And before I go on to the next example, I'm gonna do this. I also want to kind of come up with a beginner version of it. That was maybe more advanced or intermediate, perhaps. I want something that is like someone, if any of you are listening and you've only been playing bass for 6 months or a year or something like that, and you want to be able to play this too, because maybe that's too technical, I want to come up with something that is appropriate for you as well. So this is a similar groove. I don't think it's the same. Let's see. By the way, if you guys can hear everything okay, give me a thumbs up or, I don't know, do something to let me know. I think everything's all right. So, oh, sorry, I forgot to turn my bass back. All right, let's try that again. Ah. Ah, that sucked. Let's try it again. I need a fill. That was good. All right, and so kind of what my gut was telling me, let's delete all of that because I know it was trash. Yeah, we're good. So basically what my gut was telling me on that groove was funk music is all about the E's and the U's, right? If we're playing 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E, a 2 E, a 3 E and a 4 E and a, right? It's all those in between notes that make it sound groovy. If I straighten it out and accent the downbeat and the upbeat, it sounds more like rock music. I mean, not bad, but not this. Right? It's way more groovy. So what I was going for in that was a beginner groove that was more like ba 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 ba. As a beginner, and you want to get into funk music, nailing that right there is going to put you miles ahead of the game. So, anyways, that's what I was trying to accomplish with that, and I think that's good enough to remember the idea. So let's come back to some of these questions, and then I'll kind of keep going. I've got maybe 3 or more. I think I've got 3 more tracks that I want to get through today. So let's see what we got. Oh, I'm sorry. Someone asked about, okay, I'm backing this up a little bit. Charis, I'm sorry, says, I'm having trouble keeping under control the low end of 5 strings. How do I tame those frequencies? Are you talking about like your left hand muting? For instance, like maybe you're playing up here. and my lower strings are ringing out. You know what I mean? If that's what you're talking about, it's really easy. What I recommend you do is this right here. This is a 4-string bass. Look at what my right hand just did. Oh, sorry, that is in the way. Hey, if you like what you're seeing, throw me some love. Look at my thumb. It's not doing this. I'm not staying here. You hear all that noise? That's because my thumb was over here and my left hand was over here. Nobody was around to mute the lower strings. So if you watch, my thumb this time, I'm sorry, that's a bad angle. My thumb travels with my hand. So I don't play what's called anchoring. I play with what's called floating thumb. So I don't anchor my thumb and then let my fingers drift away from it. I let my thumb move with my fingers whenever I play. Right? So you can see when I go higher up on the strings, I do this. And when I play lower, I can leave my thumb where it is. But that'll probably help you out tremendously. Just float your thumb and let it move with your fingers. Okay, Ricardo says, hi. Hello, welcome. Low MD says, great session. What do you think a good right hand touch is? Try not to turn that into a dirty joke. Hold on one second. I play with light touch. So if you're here in the room with me, in fact, hold on, I'll just do this. That's what my fingers sound like. Not loud at all. Oh, there we go. Because I just like an effortless feel. Actually, who got me into this was Victor Wooten. If you watch him play, he doesn't look like he's breaking a sweat at all. It's just, you hear and he's just not moving that much. He doesn't look like he's trying very hard. And so I like the way that looks, number one, versus like people that are like aggressively playing the bass and it looks like they're running a marathon. I'm not as keen on that, I guess. So I play with really light touch. I bring my action up, and when I dig in, I've still got my headroom set, so it allows for those dynamics. But if you need more volume, you just turn up the volume. You know, I think people play too hard. People, if you're talking about like a bad habit of, I get this question all the time. People say like, I play too hard all the time. How do I not? And I think what that stems from is you have an amplifier that's not loud enough, or with not a lot of headroom, not enough headroom, and then you get into the practice room with a drummer and a guitar player, and they've got way more than you do, and so you're digging in to keep up with them. And I think that's why you develop always having to play too hard. I'm not saying that's you, but this is what I hear all the time. So get an amp that has more headroom, back it off, play it quietly, and when you need more volume, you just turn it up. It's kind of that easy. All right, let's see what else we got. Private message. Okay, I'll check that later. Michael says, I finally bought a Fender Professional Jazz, and my 1-year-old is constantly knocking it down. Yes, because mine fell over too. Good. Except I'm not 1 year old. Syncopated pedal note. Was that a question, or was that suggesting something on the tracks? I'll definitely do that in one of the upcoming ones. Nice bass. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Greetings from Italy. Luca, it's good to have you here, man. Glad to see everything's going well. You seem to be safe. Welcome. Glad to have you. Mark says, Jamie, how many bass guitars do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and I think there's 2 downstairs, 15. I have so many that I actually had to count. I don't know. And to be honest, some of them I've never played before, or they only get used once or twice. They're specialty instruments and they just stay in the closet. But I'll be selling some of them soon. That's how I roll. I don't like having too many instruments. I have a 6-month rule. Anything that hasn't been touched in 6 months, it goes bye-bye. So yeah, some of these will be getting offloaded soon. So keep an eye on Reverb. NZ says, I could see your mind working on the good right hand. Yeah, well, you know, yeah, that's how it goes. Chunky Bass says, what bass is the one you use more for slap and funk? A J bass. This isn't my go-to jazz bass. It's actually that white one over there, because this one's got flats. But for me, 99.9% of everything I do is just a 4-string J bass. Passive, that's it. Sorry. Russell says, suggestion. Oh, it was a suggestion. Cool, yes. What am I doing? One of these buttons is freaking out. Go away. Uh-oh. Did I do something wrong? Sorry, my mouse isn't clicking right now. I'm not sure if the stream is still there. Okay, good, never mind. Computer was freaking out for a second, as they do. Nathan says, I remember being super impressed after seeing Geezer Butler play his bass. He digs in so hard and looked like he was having so much fun. And exactly, yeah, if I'm playing rock in a rock band, rock music, sure, you know, why not? But for the most part, that's not what I do. I'm not a rock bassist, but I play in a lot of rock bands. I don't know why. They see the tattoos and they think that's what I do. But I'm an R&B, funk, jazz. That's what I play. But 90% of what I do is rock. Russell says, I have 2 basses. One is in pieces. Eesh, getting a revamp. I hope it makes it out alive. And New Zealand bassist says, when you play your funky skills, what are you thinking to come up with? And yes, hello from Nevada. I don't know. Let's see. Let's try it. Let's put this into practice. There's another one of these grooves. Yeah. All right, let's see what this one is. Hold on. All right, you guys are looking at the same screen I am. Okay, not heard this before, not listened to it. Oh, wait. Okay, this is a different track. Ooh, we got some chord changes in this one. Syncopations too. Ooh. All right, sorry, let me just learn that really quick. All right, now let's figure out what those notes are. We're in F minor again. One more time. I'm gonna go G on that one. And I'm gonna go E flat down to the okay, so let me back up to the beginning of this and let's give it a try. That wasn't it. Okay, so the questions in terms of what am I thinking? Well, that time I just wanted to learn those changes because this was not a 1-chord jam. And I think I came up with something that'll work for it. And in terms of the groove, I really like playing with the upbeats. That just sounded really hip in my head. As soon as I listened to the groove, the kick sounded pretty sporadic. We get 2 hits up top, bump, bump, boom, boom, boom. That was a kick drum. Right, so anytime the kick isn't giving me much to work with, that's time to have fun. So what I was hearing there was playing in the off beats. So I guess to answer your question, what am I thinking of? Nothing. It starts with listen to what the drummer's doing, and then it just turns in what kind of face am I making, and then we just go. So obviously, because this is funk music, it's mostly diatonic, except for some chord substitutions that we do a little bit later, and pretty slow tempoed. You know, you can just pretty much, even if I were to just come at it from a technical perspective, and actually this is a great topic because everything I just told you is like, well, what am I supposed to do with that? Move my head and just whatever comes out, how do I know it's gonna sound good? That doesn't help you. Okay, so let's come at it from a technical perspective. When you know music theory, this is a great opportunity when your ears fail you. Because sometimes you listen to a track and you're like, I'm not hearing anything. I don't really know what to play. On those chord changes, I didn't really know what they were. And if I couldn't find notes that would sound good, I'd just analyze the chord. Oh, it's a D flat over E flat, going to a D flat 13 or a flat 9, then going to a C7, definitely with a flat 9, and then an F minor 7. Cool. So now I can figure out what scales would work and what chords I can arpeggiate, and then, you know, away we go. So even if I just do something simple, I might have lost a lot of you with that, but let's just do minor pentatonic scale, right? There we go. And then the chord changes. But so, I mean, if I didn't have any ideas and I didn't know what to do, maybe I would just start there and go, okay, it's a minor chord, so let's just minor pentatonic the damn thing. And that time I did eighth notes. I guess technically I played a blues scale because I threw the B natural in there. And actually, that's not bad. Okay, I'm gonna do another version of it. I'm just gonna punch in right there. So I just. And then I went right back to playing eighth notes again. So maybe I like that more in this particular case. And so I'm sorry, I know a lot of that is, actually, let me back up. This is the reason why I'm doing the Money Notes series, because what you're talking about is how do you come up with bass lines? I don't know, where do ideas come from? I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I don't know that stuff. Hold on, sorry, I'm turning my phone off. Man, what was I going? Sorry. Not a doctor. That's not what I meant. Oh yeah, like where do ideas come from? Where does inspiration come from? Where does genius come from? Hell if I know. They don't pay me enough to know any of that. But so I just kind of go with my gut, and when I don't have a gut feeling, I go theoretical, because at least I know I can come up with something that works technically. And then from there, you can kind of develop and see what you come up with. So I don't know, I'm sorry if none of that helped, but that's the reason why I'm doing that Money Notes series, is because what I do is exactly what you just saw. I'll take that line and be like, well, here's the reason why it works, because fill in the blank. Okay, now let's go to Sweet Home Alabama. How do I make that formula work on that song or on Billie Jean or something else, you know? So I hope that helps. Who else we got here? Okay, Seth says, am I on the right screen? Yes, I am. Thanks for the awesome videos and the content. Hello from West Virginia. Seth, thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. And hey, if you guys are enjoying this right now, do me a favor. Can you please give this a thumbs up? It helps improve the rankings with everything that I'm doing. And also, I'm sure you've done this already too, but if you haven't, please not only subscribe to the YouTube channel, but make sure you click on that bell icon over there. That's the notifications, and anytime I go live, or anytime a new video goes up, it'll make sure that it goes straight to you. And you know, there's one other thing I want to mention. If you like these lessons that I'm doing, not just the funk stuff, but slap lessons and anything at all, we're actually doing a sale right now at thebassist.net, up to 50% off. So there's a link in the description. You can click on it and you can start saving today. I mean, there's 300 or 200 videos here at my YouTube channel. There's 1,500 at thebassist.net, well over 1,000. It's not even funny. The numbers just keep getting bigger and bigger because I add there more than I do at YouTube. So I'm just saying, if you like this stuff and you want to support what I'm doing, again, t-shirts, I've got merch for sale. We've even got a super handy dandy tip jar if you feel so inclined, but then also thebassist.net, that's a sale specifically for you guys. So you can click on those links in the description and help a brother out. Let's take a look at a couple more questions. Sorry, nice Bang Wijaya. Jaya? Sorry I butchered your name, but welcome from Indonesia. I've not had someone from Indonesia before on here. John says, any practice recommendations on how to transition smoothly between slap and fingers within the song? That's a good idea. Let me see if I can do that with this next one. Hold on, I'm just trying to play this next clip over here. That's too similar to everything else I've been doing. I'm gonna move on. I'm getting bored of that one chord jam. Well, sorry, let me hit that button. Anyways, anything to help out with going from finger to slap? I mean, I guess, yeah, an easy thing to do, let's see, it would be something like this. Take a scale. I mean, that's the idea, right? I'm not doing a good job of slapping right now. It's a flat wound string bass. Not gonna work anyways. But just take a technique and just drill something like that. Play a major scale, go on up and down, and maybe do 4 notes of fingers, 4 notes of slap. Right there. That'd be double thumping it. I don't know. I've never thought to do that before, but I guess that's what I would do. Throw on a metronome, scales, arpeggios. How would I do that? Now you got me interested in practicing that. So maybe that's how you would do it. Mark says, hi, Sarah. Sarah says, hello. Bass Monkey 70. I like that name. What sort of exercise do you recommend for playing syncopated rhythms like this one? I'm assuming you're talking about the last song where I was playing on the off beats. Actually, I would recommend doing this. Here. Do you guys hear the click right now? Yeah, you get click. All right, so here's what I would do. Basically, play some scales, staying on the downbeat. Now I'm gonna move to the upbeat. One and two and three and four and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now I'm gonna move to the E. One E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2. Now I'm gonna move to the So all I was doing there, the click didn't change, right? The click kept going 1, 2, 3, 4, but I would go from the downbeat to the upbeat, 1 and 2 and 3, and to the E, 1 E and a 2 E and a 2 E, to the 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E. That's the hard one because you really want to do this. You just end up right back on the downbeat. So the sorry, I was doing the E again. 1 E, a 2 E, a 3. And just play one note if a scale is too hard. And you can see I'm even help myself keep time by padding the strings over here. 1 E and a 2 E and a 2 E and a 4 E and a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. But anyways, if you do exercises like that, you're working on playing not just to the downbeat, but everything that's in between. And then when it comes to like playing a groove like that and like playing syncopations, so let's do something like that. See, I got rid of the 8th note pulse, but I left the upbeat. Right, and you can start doing little syncopations like that. That was an easy fill. That time messing with 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 2 E and a 4 E and actually that's called a 5/4 syncopation. I'm playing every 5th, 16th note. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. In a groove. I don't know, that one wasn't so good. But those are the types of things that I do. Practice those syncopations just to a click with scales and arpeggios or on a single note, then start playing grooves and try to just throw that stuff in there. And by the way, if that was way over your head or the rhythms I was talking about are foreign to you because you don't know music theory and that stuff, thebassist.net has a complete curriculum on music theory, ear training, and we spend at least 10 weeks on rhythm and timing, this exact topic. So, again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but if you want to check out some of those courses, just click on the link in the description, and I promise I'll get you up to speed. It's what I do. Let's just take a couple more questions, and I'm going to play that last song over there. C7, flat 9, spicy. Yeah, that's my go-to. That extra. You always play that as a, anytime you have a dominant chord that moves down a half step. So in this case, D flat 7, going down to C7. You would play, that C7 is naturally going to have a flat 9 on it because the 9 is a half step away. So even if it's just a C7 chord, it still has a flat 9. Aren't you a doctor of funk? I hope not. And meaning you were talking about fills, and when you come up with fills, what do you think of? Okay, same thing, kind of just try to stay a couple notes ahead, and hopefully whatever I'm playing is leading me to what I'm gonna do. Actually, here, let's try this. Oh, I gotta do this again. That's the one I want. All right, let's go to this last playing example, or this last thing I need to record. Because again, that one over there is too similar. I'll come back to that one later. Sorry, let's turn that click off. Woo! Oh, I'm digging this. It's gonna be fun. All right, so right off the bat, Okay, this one has changes in it. We'll get to that in a second. So the groove that I just naturally came to, quarter note snare is my favorite. Here's what you need. You want to write good songs, here's what you need. Quarter note snare, and then get the tambourine going, chicka, 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 put those two together. All day long I could listen to that. Sorry. So that was the groove. That was the only thing I could possibly play there. I don't know why. It had to. Even though the drums didn't go ba ga 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 ga. Like if we were playing live, guarantee the drummer would start doing that with me. And we would probably do it at the same exact time. Because it's just that's the most obvious thing to do there. So another thing that'll help you with fills is just kind of know the genre and know what's appropriate for it. Because in any of the other examples, if I was trying to do sweep arpeggios or I don't know, some jazz, like that doesn't belong. What belongs in a funk tune? You know what I mean? Like lots of ghosted notes, really short, and the funk vibrato and glissando and all that stuff. So that'll definitely point you in the right direction. And then, I don't know, just pentatonic and blues scales, you just can't go wrong. But why did I pull up this groove? There was a reason. Someone asked a question. What was it? Oh yeah, just how do I come up with fills and ideas? Yeah. So I don't know. Actually, let's come back over to this one. Let's see what I come up with. I'm going to play along to the whole thing. It changes right here. Yeah. All right, follow me on this. Dang it, I wanted to do something cool there and I didn't. Let me try that again. Upbeat. I love that pause there, and the bass can go, and the drums go boop, 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 boom, come in on that last part of the film. In fact, I'm gonna do that again just because I really want to. I'm having fun. Oh, I didn't realize that was that soon. Now, if I was recording this, I would put a click in there so that my timing is perfect and I don't rush at those sections. But what I need to do is just practice and not do this. Ah, come on! There we go. That's what I wanted. Whoops. So anyways, that's what I would recommend is just kind of play it over and over and over again. Play something that you know is appropriate for that particular genre, and let yourself go to town. And when you have space like that, where it just kind of went open, 3, 4, 5, 6, boom, boom. Cool. That's your time to go to town. And actually, if I think about it, let's do this. Let's do all these syncopations that I've been talking about. Same section. So that time I was playing upbeats. This time I'll do downbeats. I actually couldn't even do it. I had to play downbeats and then I turned it into ups. Let's try playing on the E's. Oh shoot, at this beat. Given the tempo, I don't think that playing just the E's or just the U's is going to work, because you're just going to lose it. But, okay, what if we do triplets? Check this out. All right, let me slow this down. Now we're getting creative here. So check this out. I'm going to slow it down. So let's say that's the groove right there, and that's my tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and a 1. That was a syncopation we did a second ago that was playing every 5/16 notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What if I do every 3? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Right? So that groove, let's actually no. We're gonna go slow. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Now the math isn't going to line up perfectly, because if you add up the amount of 3s I just did, it's more than you have in a bar. So I've got to shave some of them off. That would work. See it in context. Did you hear it? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can use rhythmic syncopations to kind of help you create some of those. I know, I'm sorry, I'm flying off the cuff here and I'm probably leaving a lot of you in the dust, but this is really exciting for me because I'm capturing all of these ideas, I'm recording them, and I go back later, transcribe and go, oh, that was a neat idea. And then I've got like a 5-part series on whatever that cool idea or trick was. So guys, thanks so much for helping me come up with all this stuff too, because your questions are definitely influencing what I'm doing. I'm just gonna come back down here and answer some more questions, but how are we doing on time? Yeah, just about over an hour. We should probably wrap up soon, but I will keep answering your questions as long as they keep coming. So let's see what we got. Mark says, I think I'm getting too old to play bass. Mark, I had Rufus Reed on my podcast. He is 75 years old, and he did more work last year than I've done in my entire life. So you're never too old. In fact, the first thing when I walked into his studio, it was like, you still keeping your chops up? You still practicing? That's the most important thing to Rufus. He's an amazing bassist. Go look him up if you don't know him. From Carlos de Transistor Duran Mendoza, I tried my hardest, says, muy buenas. That means very good. Lesiones, I'm going to say, is lessons. Soy Chale de Chile. I am from Chile. I think that's what that says. I took the first year of Spanish twice. Do the math on that one. Carlos, las pentatónicas, the pentatonics, majar y menores sirven de muchas gracias. The pentatonic scales, something, 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 thank you very much. I think that's what that says. Continuous 16th note runs. Yeah, those always work. Lucas says, when the bass comes in, the music takes life. I would agree, 100%. Mark says, my bass is like yours, but it's blue. Like the blue fade with the white pick guard, probably. Yeah, sorry, Carlos. You don't speak English and I don't speak Spanish, but I'm doing my best. All right, here's one from Bass Monkey. Says, hey, Jamie, have been working on the Advanced Funk Groove #1. If you guys don't know what he's talking about, hold on, just to make sure we're all on the same page. This is a video that went live a couple weeks ago, I think. I'm looking for it right now. All right, here's a link for y'all if you want to check it out. Oh, shoot, there's an X. Don't click on that one. That's the wrong, or actually it's the same. Anyways, this is a lesson that went live a couple weeks ago at thebasis.net and here on my YouTube channel. It's totally free. So if you want to download the PDF file and the backing track, it's very similar to this stuff that you're hearing right now. I don't know why I went like this. My screen is over here. Oh, kind of looks like the chat stream's there. It works. Anyways, trouble keeping up with tempo of 16th notes. Any issues playing them as 8th notes first to nail the rhythm? No, sure. It's always cool to slow things down or to cut out. All right, hold on. I think I remember how this groove goes. If it's not 100% correct, forgive me. I think it was, shoot. How'd it go? Yeah. Okay, so that's the groove at a slow tempo. How it's supposed to go, I think, is around here. So yes, obviously the first thing you can do is just slow it down. Right, and just kind of get it over and over at that tempo. But another thing you do is just start cutting stuff out. I mean, I left several of the notes out that time, and it made it a little bit easier to play. So you can also do that kind of stuff too, where you're just like, I'm going to cut this and this and this out. And then once I'm comfortable, I'm going to start adding those in 1 or 2 at a time. So yeah, that's something we do, that musicians do all the time, myself included. Low End, hello from Seoul. Good to have you. Thank you. Where can we find those backing tracks? So those are, you can purchase them from a company called Big Fish Audio. I did a live stream. I'm not going to put the link in there. Just, you can see the live streams here on the channel. I did a live stream with Big Fish Audio. They make production loops. So if you're a producer and you compose for TV and film, this freaking bass, man, it will not stay up. What the hell? If you make production music, you can, Big Fish Audio, there's a whole bunch of loop libraries out there, and that's what it's intended for. I use them to create lessons and to jam to and create exercises and that kind of stuff. So Big Fish Audio is the name of that company, and that's where I got them from. Or if you go to thebasis.net, any lesson that uses them, they're included with the lesson, so you can do it that way too. Russell says, JB, there was a study that came out a few years ago that concluded bass is the most important instrument in the band. All the validation I need. Yeah. Studies say, sure, science, I'll buy it. Nathan says, I always have trouble with playing ghost notes in between normal notes at high speed. Playing ghost notes in between normal notes. I see. Okay, Nathan, is that something that you mean like you're having a hard time getting them to be loud as the normal notes? Because if that's the case, compression helps out tremendously. Because compression squashes your dynamics, takes the loudest notes and makes them quieter, and the quietest notes and makes them louder. Your ghosted notes are sometimes really soft, and they don't get picked up. So by compressing them, you're raising the volume essentially. Oh, good. No need to practice it. Yeah, don't need to do that. But no, for real, yeah, I would say compression. That's a great tool for getting that. I don't have anything to send you because I'm still working on that series. But for all these funk lessons that are coming out, I'm not going over the techniques because that's in a series that's going to be called Funk Vocabulary. It'll be exclusive to the bassist.net, and or you'll also be able to buy it from the shop if you want, but it's cheaper just to subscribe. And that will kind of take all of the techniques, ghost notes, muting, EQ, comp, processing, and all that stuff, specifically for funk music. And it'll be like a primer course for all of these exercises that we've been working on. So I know I'm kind of doing it backwards and out of order, but there'll be something for you to check out pretty soon if you're interested in that. Mostly technique. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I don't have anything to send you right now because I'm still working on the curriculum and thinking of the best way to present that information. But Nathan, just stay tuned, stick around, and I promise I'll get there for you. Seth says, are you still using Aguilar pickups in your one bass? I have Aguilar pickups in almost every bass. Now I take that back. We counted 15. There's Aguilar pickups in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. Okay, so almost half actually. But yeah, the answer is yes. Because Seth says, I just bought a cheap Ibanez and thought about upgrading the pickups. Yeah, I like the Aguilars a lot. This one does not have it. This is a stock. I'm pointing down the ground because that's where the bass is now. 2 times it fell. That's bad. This stand, whatever it is, what is this? Not even a label. On stage stands, y'all have failed me for the last time. Get out of here. What was I saying? Pickups. Yeah, this one doesn't have them, but I really like their 60s pickup. I believe it's an AG-4J-60. Yeah, I have the 60s, the 70s, and the hum canceling. 60s are by far my favorite. You tell them, I'm gonna. Ricardo says, speaking about bass frequencies, what is your knowledge? Tremendous. I'm a recording engineer. So is there a sweet spot? I mean, yes. It just depends on what you're trying to do. This is probably the wrong bass to do it with. Hold on. I'm gonna try not to fall out of my chair. Hey, if you're listening to this on headphones or on speakers, turn the volume down for a second. I'm gonna unplug and it might pop. 3, 2, 1, now! All right, hold on. So this right here, this is my go-to, this is my baby. This is the bass that's been used 99% of the time. Yeah, there we go. Now we get what we're looking for. All right, so I'm gonna come over here and just do some of this. Okay, I'm gonna bring up the gain because this bass is quieter. I'm getting some distortion, but I don't think you guys are. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna turn off my EQ on this end of things. Can you guys all see that? Yeah. And I'm gonna pull up a different type of EQ. So this is a bit more visual. I think everyone has kind of seen something like this before, but basically, oh shoot, wait, hey, check 1, 2, yeah, it's on the right one. All right, so this is your low end, this is the mid range, and then you got your top end over here. So, oh, you know what, hold on, 1 second, sorry. I just realized I have a pedal that I'm plugged into that's doing a little bit of EQ, and I flattened it to make sure it's not interfering. And I also unplugged my headphones, and now I'm plugging them back in. There we go. Okay, cool. So the sweet spot, I mean, I don't know exactly what you mean in terms of like, is there a one frequency that you can boost and instantly you sound good? No. Just like there's not one note you can play or one groove or one fill. It's an art form, not a science. But there's lots of science involved, so I'll help you out with this. The first thing I would do is cut before you boost. So here's something we do all the time as we go searching for frequencies. And the worst sounding ones are right here. Listen to what 430 hertz sounds like. This is just a nasty I'm boosting it so you can hear how terrible it is. That right there, between 400 and 500, it's just a it's honky, boxy, however you want to pronounce it. It just sounds terrible. So the first thing I would recommend doing is getting rid of those. I'm going to narrow up the Q a little bit and set this around 450. That's a good rough spot. So instead of sounding like this, let's get rid of it. And you might not even notice a difference. So let's do this. I'm going to record. All right, and now let's just set that to loop a bunch of times, I think. Will it do that? Hold on, I'm experimenting here. Ah, yes, it will. Okay, so now I'm going to put my bass down right next to the other one. Okay, now check this out. I'm going to boost that nasty frequency that I've been talking about, 500, 400. Terrible. Cut it out. You might not notice much of a difference, but I'm going to bypass it. Bring it back in. It's subtle, but that right there made a huge difference. It made the bass much more listenable. And if I was mixing on this track, that's the first thing I would do is I would pull out 500 because it sounds nasty. So now it's going to repeat itself a bunch of times. The next thing I would do is boost some of the lows. And this is just a matter of preference. 100, 200, 30. The lower you go, the more it is. Not so much heard, but more felt. And then the closer you get to around 100 or 200, that's where we start getting into muddy territory. So be careful, but check this out. We'll leave it flat for the moment. Watch what happens as I boost the low end and move it from 30 up to, I don't know, around 200. You probably don't even hear anything right now. If you had a subwoofer on, I'm pointing it, you can't see, but if like you were listening on a home theater with a dedicated sub, you just went, like it all just blew up all of a sudden. 70, now I notice a difference. 60, 70, that's pretty noticeable. Now that I'm around the 140 mark, that's more like low mid than it is lows. So if you want that whoop whoop kind of sound, as opposed to I know, ridiculous. That's where you're gonna find it, between 150 and 200. So I'm really digging the way this is sounding right now. Fat, big. The next thing I'll do is I'll go searching for the fingers. That's the attack of the string. And I'm not slapping yet, right? But I just want the stroke of my finger hitting the string to pop out just a little bit more. And you're gonna find that. Check this out. I'm gonna leave this up here. I'm just gonna boost it like crazy. And I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna sweep between 700 and 1000, 1K. Check out what happens. Start playing. Let's go a little wider. There it is. Yeah, probably like 810, 830, 860, 900. Yeah. Okay, so watch, I'm gonna turn this band off. You hear that? It's got more of the finger stroke coming through. Now, I wouldn't boost it that much. We're doing 15 dB of boost. That's too much. So I'm gonna back this off and make it a little more subtle. Now watch what happens when I turn it off. Watch. You almost don't even notice. I'm gonna make it a little more less subtle. It's way mellow. Now I'm gonna turn it on. Now those notes are biting on you. And if you want to, if you're slapping and popping and you really want the airy notes, right, that crystal clear top end, what you want to start doing is this. More aggressive. That's where you find those. This is a shelving EQ. So basically it goes like this, and then everything above it is getting boosted. So if I was slapping and popping, I've got to really dial it in for you to hear any of that sizzle. Probably just mostly hear and hiss. But you can see we're around 3K. If you do a shelving lift around 3K or so, that'll get you in that good slap territory. And in fact, if I bring this guy back and make it so I can see how that top end and if I turn that EQ off, here's what we started with. Night and day, right? So that's the benefit of knowing how to engineer, how to EQ, how to compress, all of that good stuff. I'm sorry that was a pretty long tangent, and if that was uninteresting to any of you, I apologize. But yeah, those are the sweet spots. So 4 bands to worry about: low, mid, and high. Your low frequencies, 30 to 100, just kind of find it. 500, always cut out. 1K, go searching for the finger stroke, and then a high shelf at 3K and above, and that's where the sizzle and all the air is. Okay, let's take a couple more questions, and guys, I've got to get going pretty soon. I haven't eaten yet today. It's 5:30 p.m. It's time for me to eat breakfast, and I know that sounds insane, but it's pretty normal for me. So, what else we got? Sorry. I'm backing up. Aguilar pickups, looking forward. Bass frequency, sweet spot. All right, John says, if this is the material you teach, I'm definitely joining. Yeah, there's hundreds, thousands of lessons at thebassist.net centered around engineering, performance, teaching, all of it. So yeah, come hang out with me. Carlos says, I'm sorry, Carlos, I don't know what this is. You'll have to translate that for me. Nathan says, I kind of like it. Well, and that's, I don't know what it is that you kind of liked, that I kind of said sounded bad, probably. But again, it is more of an art than a science. So you can't see, but there's a picture, there's a painting right behind me. It's up on the wall of The Last Supper. But instead of Jesus and the disciples, it's Freddy Krueger and 11 of the greatest monsters from classic horror. So I love that picture because I love monsters. It's one of the greatest things ever. You might look at that and say, oh, that's terrible. And we'd both be right. Because art is an opinion, and there is no right, there is no wrong. There's just, what do you like? What's better, red or blue? You know, so when I'm like, oh, 500, that sounds like dookie, you might be like, actually, I think that's awesome. And you could totally use that to your advantage. I've said this before on my podcast and here on live streams and stuff, but I was in a session once, and we wanted, the producer asked us to play a song that sounded like The Office. We were trying to record some production music. I was looking for a bass, the Squier Bronco. It's a cheap $80 bass. Sounds terrible. It was perfect for that song because we needed to sound like a garage band, literally in their garage playing a 3-chord song. And that bass did the right trick. If I had the $10,000 Fodera, it wouldn't get that sound. It sounds too good. I need a trashy sound. So even though it sounds trashy, it's appropriate, you know? So that's the way I look at it. 500, yeah, you could just about always cut it out unless you're trying to do something creative with those frequencies, and then go for it, man. That's awesome. Ricardo, you're very welcome. Guys, I've got to go. I just want to remind you one more time that please check out the podcast. There's a new episode going live tomorrow. So if you're looking for things to keep you busy, I guarantee you're going to like the conversations I've had there with Yannick Wisdala, Kyle Whaleman from Katy Perry and Kelly Clarkson, and man, who else was on recently? Neely Brosh from Death Clock, and Tony McAlpine, and a bunch of people. And also, remember, there's a sale at thebassist.net right now. You can save up to 50%. Just click on the description, the link in the description, and you can check that out. And also, if you like the T-shirt I'm wearing or any of the other shirts that you see in these videos, check out the shop. I think there's a link to that in the description as well. But I've got a whole bunch of stuff if you want to support this channel, support the podcast, or the bassist. I really appreciate it, guys. So thanks so much for stopping by today. I promise I'm going to become quite a bit more active this week and next week, and maybe even the rest of the month. Because like I said, a lot of us are kind of not going anywhere right now. We're all at home. And so let's take this as an opportunity to get to know each other better, to have fun, to learn, to get better at our bass, and just explore music together. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time again here at thebassist.net. Adios and stay safe, y'all. Okay.